Stormzy has recently released a lengthy statement with multiple slides. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll leave it all in the video. Um, and he goes about some challenges that he faced in the last year or two. And he goes into about him deciding to do the partnership with McDonald's and other things. And he says, this year I felt like I was in the wilderness, but if you're a believer, then you know that the wilderness is one of the most deliberate places God can choose to put you in. That's part of the first slide. I'm not gonna read all of the slides, or the slides that I do read. I'm not gonna read all of it. So fast forward to at the beginning of 2025, where I decided to do a McDonald's deal, a decision that led a lot of you reading this to question both my character and my integrity. See now, the younger me and I guess the version of you guys are more familiar with would have desperately vented. But then he goes, the Mike from yesteryear would have been compelled to quickly explain himself and let you know that there is no world in which he would ever trade his humanity for cash, whereas the newer Stormzy couldn't give a single F to explain that fact. What you think and suck my D, I don't need to explain anything to anybody. So why the F are you explaining this in these 10 slides or 11 slides? Oh, I'm a big man, I don't need to explain. And then what does he do? He explains like an idiot. Like typically he can't articulate himself properly, and he has to use such words as suck my D, and then he has to say, I don't have to explain anything. Then why the F are you explaining then, you idiot? And then he speaks about God. So God is okay with you giving money to McDonald's or taking money from McDonald's and promoting them. And then he goes on to about something about Jesus is over him or covering him or something like that, along the lines of paraphrasing. He wants to speak about Jesus. The homeland of Jesus is being bombed and there's a genocide there, and you want to speak about Jesus because you want to cover yourself from what you did. You did something wrong and now you want to speak about Jesus. What the F is wrong with you? And then you think, oh, I don't have to explain myself. You don't have to explain yourself, but you are. It's like, oh, look at me, I don't have to explain myself. I'm so special, I don't need to explain myself. And what the F are you doing now? You're explaining yourself, you idiot. You idiot. Do you understand? Do you understand what you're doing? This is called explaining yourself. Whether you're fully explaining yourself or not, there's a difference. But what are you doing? You're explaining yourself. So don't act like you're too big to explain yourself and you don't care about your fans, because you do, because this is why you're posting this. And of course you felt your actions, the consequences of it, because this is why you're speaking. And this is why many people, it doesn't just mean Muslims who, whether they should be listening to you or not, Muslims, non-Muslims as well. So you can say all you like about your fans, but your fans that support Palestine and don't like what you did, they're all across your fans. So whether it's the younger people, the older people, whether it's the Muslims, whether the non-Muslims, whether it's the Asians or the Africans or anybody else, a lot across your fan range, the range of the fans that you have, a lot of them didn't like what you did, and now you want to say that you don't give an F. You do give an F, but you want to pretend like you don't give an F, and you clearly do give an F because it impacted you so much that you're feeling this way. And then on top of that, you have to give this statement and you're saying you're not going to explain, but this is exactly what you're doing. You're explaining, and then you're going on about Jesus and all of these things, and being put in the wilderness, and Jesus testing people or whatever. So he's testing you, and you absolutely failed your test by giving into McDonald's. And the people in Palestine, they're not only are they succeeding in their test, secondly, it's the homeland of Jesus, and you want to speak about Jesus. How dare you speak about Jesus and then take money from McDonald's? Like, first of all, even Christians will not be happy with what you're doing. But even as a Muslim, how dare you speak about Jesus like that? We regard Jesus highly to such an extent that other non-Muslim countries don't regard him like this, even though they claim to follow Jesus. And you want to use Jesus' name to say that you're doing X, Y, and Z. How dare you do that? You should be ashamed of yourself. And of course, I'm nobody. You're not going to listen to what I'm saying and whatever else, but I'll say how it is. You think, oh, I'm not going to speak. You're not too big to explain yourself because you explained yourself, and it does affect you because you've said so in this statement. You can tell it affected you, and now you want to pretend like, oh no, 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 none of it affected me, and I don't care. I don't give an F, and all my fans that support Palestine can suck X, Y, and Z. You're trying to put on this act. But behind all of this act, your empire is crumbling, and you talk about all these dreams that you still have. I hope every single dream of yours collapses. And what makes it really bad? Okay, you don't support Palestine, fair enough. You want to give money to, you want to get money from McDonald's, whatever. Then, but what was the part in saying that you'd always be on the right side of humanity, or along the lines of that? Was that all a lie? That's what makes it worse. Not just taking money from McDonald's, but your previous statements were they lies. You were lying to us. So I hope whatever's happened to you in the past year or two happens to you even more until you have to come out and say, no, I took the money and I'm greedy and I have no principles and it didn't impact me and you shouldn't be, and I shouldn't have told you to suck your D and anything like that. You're an absolute disgrace, and I hope everybody from all communities hound you in every opportunity until you have to remove the comments from every single social media post that you post on every platform. And then you have to stop speaking nonsense like this. And then when it impacts your money, that's when you only care. Because it doesn't seem like anything else will make you care. And I want to keep repeating what I said at the beginning. I want to finish on this. How dare you speak about Jesus? You want to speak about Jesus and saying Jesus is putting you on this path and test and whatever else? What, this path to take money from people like McDonald's and then also delete posts about raising awareness about the homeland of Jesus while they're suffering? Is that what being a follower of Jesus is about? You absolute ignorant imbecile.